So the start of phase two is going to be, first off, clearing out a lot of this to make this space usable. I need to run electrical in here for the machines. The last place I was at, I only had like 150 amp panel. Luckily I got a 200 amp panel out here. That means I can run both the lathe and the mill at the same time. I could do that back at the other place, but then you really were not able to run anything else. But the lathe and the mill are going to get their own dedicated 50 amp panel. You can see one of my blasting cabinets back there. Also, amongst all that stuff in that area, I have two more machines, two lathes, actually, on that back wall. They're not CNC. One of them's manual lathe. One of them's another manual lathe that was being converted into a CNC. Once I get this place set up, I will make another video, introducing phase 3. Everything from San Diego is now up here. So I had to get the storage units, or unit and a half, and the old shop. Well, technically not everything. I still have some equipment at friends and family. Some of it's in San Diego, some of it's up here, some of it's elsewhere. But the plan is clean this area up, run electrical for both the mill and the lathe, run electrical for the saw, which is right there. And then that way I will be able to troubleshoot any possible problems with the mill or the lathe. I'm going to reactivate my Xometry account. I started doing Xometry work back in 2019 and 2020, but stopped doing work for them because the needs of my shop in 2020 had exploded, and I was making more money just using the contacts that I had made during 2020, early months of 2020, to go into 2021 and the beginning of 2022. So I need to grab the rest of the machines. I need to get my lighting fixtures up. You saw before the lathe and the mill were set up in the way that they are. Before I actually had a little bit less walking space in between the machines. I don't have that issue now. The back side is going to be for metal storage and the saw. And all this is temporary, so that I can get this machine up and running for, one, a bit of income, in order to help offset the cost of sending this equipment to Ukraine. And then two, to absolutely make sure that there are no mechanical issues coming up with these machines. I would hate to get them out to Ukraine and then realize that a bearing is bad or a motor's going bad on the mill or the lathe, and it's going to be much more expensive to, one, to troubleshoot, and two, to get those things replaced out there. But as you clearly see, I have successfully retrieved everything from storage and my previous shop location. And then after phase 3, phase 4 will be, phase 2 is getting the machines up and running, getting power out here, getting the shop layout complete. A lot of this stuff is going to go into secondary storage up here. I'm not necessarily going to need the blasting cabinets. I'm not going to need the tumbler. I'm not going to need a ton of equipment that's in that back area. I got a lot of fixtures and tooling back there that I don't need at this moment, especially just to test out the machines. So that's going to go into secondary storage temporarily, until containers can be used to get that stuff out. But to give you guys an idea, that's 30 feet, by the way, from the door to the back wall. That right there is actually 30 feet. Still, I have 2 storage units out here, as well as some more equipment still at friends and family locations. around Southern California. So we'll get that stuff out here. We will get power going, or get these things up and running. And then phase 3 is utilizing the machines for a few projects that I have here that should generate me some income, and also running some Xometry jobs should get me quite a bit of income as well, depending on how many I do. And then phase 4 is arranging the shipping containers and everything. It does look like it's probably going to be a late winter or early spring before we can even get these onto a boat. It just took me a bit of time, even just to get these things out of San Diego. And they've actually been sitting here. The machines, the big machines themselves, have actually been sitting here for the last 2 weeks, and the rest of the stuff has moved in slowly during that time. So I will keep you guys informed with what the future will hold. I got to get all this stuff cleaned up, and I will let you guys know what's going on after that.